Alright, now we can start. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm coming at you with my November TBR slash Big 3 Readathon, Zodiac Readathon TBR. So every year, usually in the month of November, my reading taste or like mood in what I like to read completely changes. I usually love to read like fantasy and historical fiction in the month of November for some reason. So this whole stack that I have right here, it's pretty much fantasy and historical fiction. So if you're in need of any recs for fantasy or historical fiction, here's your video. Obviously I haven't read any of these books because they are to be read. So yeah, take those recommendations lately. So I had this whole TBR planned already a couple weeks ago, and then I saw all of the announcements for the Big 3 Readathon slash Zodiac Readathon. So obviously I had to participate, and if you don't know what that is, basically it's a month-long readathon for the whole month of November, a Zodiac Readathon. So basically you do like your birth chart and you see your sun, moon, and rising signs. And I don't know anything about like zodiac signs or anything like that, so I would just direct you to go watch like the Rumi's video, Nitty's, Rachel's. There's a whole bunch of hosts that I'm not remembering right now, so all of them will be linked down below in like the announcement videos and all of that, so you can go see. But it's basically just like 3 prompts based on your zodiac sign. And I kind of finessed my way into just making all of those reading prompts like match the books that I already had on my TBR, because I didn't want to add more. Because I'm reading a lot of fantasy and historical fiction, that means that I'm reading a lot of long books, so I didn't want to add more, because I'm already probably not getting to all of these this month, so yeah. So for this month of November, I have 6 books on my TBR, which is a little less than I usually do. Usually I have like double that amount, but like I said, I'm reading some longer books, and they're historical fiction and fantasy, so they're a little bit more dense. Also, I am going on a little Friendsgiving trip, and I'm gonna go meet a lot of my booktube friends, so that means that I'm probably not gonna be doing as much reading during that time. So yes. So yeah, now I'm just gonna show you the 6 books that I'm planning on reading in November, and then at the end of the video I will go through the prompts for the Zodiac Readathon and tell you how I finessed my way into making the books match the prompts. So the first book that I want to read and have to read for the month of November is The Most Beautiful Girl in Cuba by Chanel Clayton, and this book is the November book club pick for my book club with Cami over in Borrows and Books. Our book club is called Brujas and Books, and that is always linked down below if you want to join. Every month we pick a book by a Latinx author, and this month, well, November, we're reading this book. So this book, I don't know too much about it. It is historical fiction, and it does have to do with like the revolution in Cuba. But I believe like the main premise is that this girl, like a journalist takes a picture of this girl, and it's kind of put like all over the press, and she's kind of like named the most beautiful girl in Cuba, and that kind of starts like a press frenzy, or I'm not too sure. But yeah, it does have to do with the Spanish oppression and the revolution in Cuba, which I don't know a lot about, so I'm really excited to read this to learn more about it. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this, and like I said, it is our November book club pick, so if you're interested in picking this up and joining us for the discussion for this one will be on Cami's channel, which is over at Borrows and Books, so you should go subscribe to her and follow us on Instagram. So I actually thought I had a lot more historical fiction books than I do, and I only have 2, which is the one that I just mentioned, The Most Beautiful Girl in Cuba, and Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. This book though, it's like 700 pages long, so I might just do like a historical fiction little reading vlog with these 2. But yeah, this is 700 pages long. This is like historical fiction and magical realism, and I think there's a little bit of fantasy and sci-fi thrown in there. But yeah, I'm really excited to read this. It is really long though, so we'll see like how far into it I get. But I don't know much about like the plot or anything. Like I said, I do know it's historical fiction. and magical realism, but what exactly is happening in the book, I don't know. I did love Anthony Doerr's writing in All the Light We Cannot See, which is like a World War II book that I read a long time ago, but I'm really excited to read this. I'm sorry that I don't know much about the plot, but this just feels like the perfect read for November. And if I don't get to it this month, like sometime in the winter, like December or January, like this is just like perfect. I don't know why it's just giving me those vibes, so I'm really excited to read this. The rest of these books are fantasy books that I really want to get to. So the first one I actually don't have physically. I do have on my Kindle, and that is Blood Like Magic, and I forget the author name, but it'll be on the screen. And this is Jan's book club pick for the month of November. My good friend here on BookTube, Jan from Jan Agaton, has her book club, Full Moon Book Club, and all of the live discussions are always on the full moon of the month. So whenever the November full moon is, that's when the live discussion for Blood Like Magic will be. I'm really excited to read this. I had no idea that this is kind of like it's not self-published, but I do know that the author of this book used to be like a YouTuber or something like that, so I didn't know that part of it, but I'm really excited to read it. I've heard great things. I know very little about the plot. I think Jan mentioned that it's kind of about this girl that has to kill her first love for some reason. I think it's kind of like I don't know, like an initiation or something, but she's never falling in love, so now she has to go out there and kind of like date and fall in love and find her first love and then kill him. So that sounds like a really good premise, so I'm really excited to read this for Jan's book club. The next book, I've been putting this off for so long, but I feel like now is the perfect time, and that is A Vow So Bold and Deadly by Brigid Kemmerer. This is the finale for the Curse Breaker series, which the first book is A Curse So Dark and Lonely, which is back here, and I adored this series. I loved the first two books, and I don't know why I kept procrastinating reading this book, but I love the writing. These books go by so quickly. For me, fantasy is like really hard to get into, but I love the series so much. This is kind of like a Beauty and the Beast retelling, pretty much. That's all I'll say. But yeah, I'm really excited to get to the finale of this series and finally complete it, because I love Brigid Kemmerer's writing, so I feel like it'll just be a really quick read for me. So yeah, this is another fantasy that I want to get to this month. The next book, again, is by Brigid Kemmerer, and that is Defy the Night. This came out recently, and I had no idea that Brigid Kemmerer was coming out with another fantasy book. Like I said, I do love her writing a lot, and the Curse So Dark and Lonely series is the only other books that I've ever read by her, but I do know that she's written a lot of romance and contemporary books, which is why I feel like her characters and her romance in the books are just so good. So I'm really excited to get to this. I've heard great things about this book, and I know nothing about exactly like the plot or anything, but on the front it says like a spark of rebellion is all it takes. So fantasy and rebellion in a fantasy country is all I need. So I'm really excited to get into this world. And the last book on my TBR is another fantasy. I think this one's more of an urban fantasy, I believe, but I'm not too sure. Again, I've heard amazing things about this book, and that is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Yeah, I've heard amazing things. This has been getting a lot of hype. Again, I don't know anything about like the plot of this book. I do hope that it's kind of like a magic school. I think so. I'm not too sure though, but I'm hoping that it is set in like a magic school. But yeah, again, I don't know anything about the plot, I'm sorry, but I do think it's more of like an urban fantasy type of book, and I'm really excited to get to this. Alright, last but not least, we have the Big 3 Readathon / Zodiac Readathon TBR, which are some of these books. I'm just going to tell you the prompt. So like I mentioned, you kind of go into some website and put like the date that you were born, the time, and all of that. So mine is not completely accurate because I don't know what time I was born. I asked my mom and she said that it was after 7 p.m. so I do know that it was sometime during the night. So I can't remember exactly what time I put on that website, but I got that I was like Libra Sun, Gemini Moon, and Gemini Rising. I don't know what any of that means. but I'm gonna get to the prompts now. So sorry that I'm looking down, I'm looking at my laptop, but the prompt for Libra Sun is to read a book chosen by a poll. And for that, I mean, it's so accurate, because if you follow me on Instagram, you know that every time that I'm like about to pick something up, I always do a poll on my Instagram. It's like a thing. I always do polls for everything, so this is easy. We'll see, I don't know, like sometime during the month of November I'm gonna put a poll up, and whatever book that is chosen, that's what I'll read. So yeah, I don't have like a specific book that I'm reading for that, because y'all will be choosing it. But yeah, that is so accurate, because I do that all the time, like for everything. For Gemini Moon, the prompt is to read a book with an unreliable narrator or lots of plot twists. So for this, I was a little bit extra, and I went through every single book on my TBR, and I went on the Goodreads, and then I did like the little find thing, like the Control F, and then you look up a word, and I looked up twist, and I chose the book that had the most like finds for the word twist, like in the reviews of the Goodreads. And that book, the book that got the most like twists finds on like reviews and stuff, was Defy the Night by Brigid Kemmerer. So this is what I'll be reading for that. Super excited now that it has a lot of plot twists. Hopefully it lives up to it. The prompt for Gemini Rising is to read a book recommended by someone you know in real life. So I really finessed this one, because I'm going to be reading Blood Like Magic for this one. I guess it's kind of recommended by Jan, because it's on her book club, and I know her IRL. I have met her once. So this is what I'm reading for that prompt.
It's really like, it's stretching it, but it's okay.
And those are all of like the reading prompts. And then there's an element challenge, and for me, because I'm a Libra, the element challenge is to unplug for a day and swap your screen time for reading time. And honestly, unplugging for a day, it's something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. I feel like I'm on my phone way too much, so I'm really excited for this day. I don't know when that'll be. So for the month of November, you can definitely expect maybe a historical fiction vlog, maybe a fantasy reading vlog. I'm definitely going to be vlogging my Friendsgiving when I go over to visit some of my booktube friends, Cami, Christina, Renee, Kat, the whole gang. And maybe I'll do like a little Zodiac Readathon vlog. Maybe I'll choose like 1 week in the month of November to do that. But yeah, maybe whenever I choose to do the unplug, maybe that's when I'll do it. But yeah, that's what you can expect from the month of November. Those are all of the books that I'm planning on reading. Let me know if any of these books sound interesting to you, or what I should start with first. Yeah, I'm super excited for this TBR, because I haven't read historical fiction or fantasy in a really long time. So I'm excited to read a lot of them now. Alright, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!